Hello YouTube, this is Morgan, Airspeed Prime here with my next Korra episode review, and this is going to be my review for K203, Civil Wars Part 1, the third episode of Book 2, Spirits of the Legend of Korra. This episode was written by Mike DiMartino, first episode he's done this season, and directed by Colin Heck, so let me get straight into it. Overall thoughts. Really good episode actually, I thought. What I really liked about it the most was that it just, I suppose, really went for it when it came to the emotions of this episode. It didn't pull any punches, it didn't hold back. These family issues that were going on, they just went for it. And it was kind of just really kind of like some scathing remarks from some characters towards others. And it was just really good. Along with that, the main plot, Korra Unlock, that moved along but still remains a mystery. I didn't maybe expect what happened in the episode to happen. I maybe expected the war to actually fully kick off this episode and then it conclude next time around. But the war hasn't fully kicked off yet. I think the end of this episode kind of will result in that. But really good stuff overall. So let's get into some of the details. Fundamentally, the episode was based around three kind of family issues. Three families, and that was Korra, her family, including her uncle, and maybe Varric involved. Then you have Ikki, Jinora, Milo as more of a minor kind of plot, and then last but not least, you have Tenzin, Kaya, Bumi, and their issues with Aang and stuff like that. And just the way that it worked all together, in that they were all kind of linked, and that they were all family issues, and family definitely seems to be the theme of this season, along with spirits. I just like the way that they all roughly dealt with the same thing. Now, I'll talk about Tenzin Kayabumi first, because I suppose that's more separate to the rest of it, which is all linked together with Korra. But the interesting thing here was obviously that they just suddenly presented this thing of Jinora has gone missing because Ikki's gone missing because Jinora and Milo were teasing her. Now, on one hand, I'm kind of like, okay, this is interesting, but with Jinora, we didn't get anything else about her in this episode, like, especially with the great mystery, and like, one of my most favourite things about the premiere was how they presented Jinora, and then they kind of almost stepped back from that. They really presented her as, she's the one that's growing up now, and the next episode she's teasing her sister, making her run away, and kind of lying to her mother, that sort of thing. I expected something else, even just a look, like her hearing something from back in the temple or something like that, just to show that that's not just forgotten. So I hope they do address that next episode, because I think ultimately Ikki going missing and where the search with Tenzin Kayabumi goes, it kind of is maybe hinting at that she was sucked into the spirit world or something like that, that she's gone somewhere. Because if it's just that she's ran away because she was teased, it could definitely link into linking the Katang siblings into Tenzin's children, the issues, and that's how they get over it. They help Ikki get over her issues with her siblings, and through giving them advice, they get advice themselves and realize that everyone's different and stuff like that. So I like that plot that they're setting up there with Ikki missing, and maybe this is where Jinora goes into the spirit world to get her sister back, and that's one of the kind of arcs that they need to go on. That Jinora was mainly responsible for Ikki running away and needs to get her back through this spirit world journey. It would be interesting, definitely. But where would Milo be involved? That would be the thing. But anyway, back to Kayabumi Tenzin. They obviously go looking, and along the way, we see the kind of more jovial side of their relationship, and that they're making jokes about stuff, vacation Tenzin, and they laugh at Bumi's eccentric moments where he comes out in just his pants and stuff like that, bathrobe, talks about his fear of this shark squid thing, but then as soon as they all come together and are just like searching, these little things come up and they start kind of needling each other about them, and it ultimately comes down to the fact that Bumi and Kaya feel like kind of left out of the family because Aang went on these kind of alone trips with Tenzin, and Tenzin is the one who really understands Aang and like the pressure he was under, because Tenzin understands the pressure that he's under now, and that's something that the other two don't, because they're not the last of a race and stuff like that. And then you have the issues around Boomy, where he's the only non-bender there, and they kind of make fun of him a bit because he's not a non-bender. But then Kaya really kind of scolds him for it. You're not a non-bender. You can't do the stuff we do. But she doesn't understand why he still feels the need to try and prove himself. And that's obviously because he wants to try and be equal, even though he can't. And that's probably why he joined the United Forces. And then with Kaya, she was clearly caught between not having that goal of wanting to be just as good as the Benders, and also not having that goal set for her in you're the next one in the culture with Tenzin. So she was just kind of the Bender who needed to find herself, and that's why she went off on her own. And it's just interesting the way they all kind of needled each other about these things. They wondered why Kyle left for a long time. They wondered why Boomy tries to prove himself so much, and why he's the kind of is the oldest but acts as the youngest, and Tenzin obviously thinking he's like the savior and really serious, has to be responsible because of that. It was just really, it was good to watch in terms of like it was entertaining, but really emotional as well. Like they were really kind of cutting deep with these kind of things they were saying, and then especially like the stuff they were saying about Aang, and that like they really present him as like not the best father, but I think it's understandable that he kind of did these things with Tenzin on his own, because as much as they kind of didn't get enough time, Kayabumi with Aang, he did kind of need to do these things with Tenzin to keep the Airnomad going, to keep balance in the world, and it's this kind of almost necessary evil that Aang almost had to not give the others as much time, just because this was stuff he needed to do. I hope it's addressed more going into future episodes, because I think it has a ton of potential to reveal some interesting stuff, especially when they start to understand each other. Right now they're very focused on like themselves, like you don't understand the pressure I'm under. They're not really thinking about how the others feel, so I think there's a lot to come. Moving into the kind of main conflict of the episode, that being Korra. I suppose I'll talk about Unalaq first. I'm still not really sure what exactly he's up to. And I like the way they're doing this, because he's basically every scene he talks to Korra, for the most part, he comes across fairly well. It's not like he's directly manipulating her, in that he's giving her pretty good advice, I think. But it's advice that sort of furthers his goal along. But like again, what is his goal? But every scene that he kind of comes in when there's like other people there, he really comes across as a bit of a villain. Like he sort of explains bringing the troops there to protect the portal, and that the northern portal needs to be opened, and then this will allow people from the south to just instantly come to the north through this portal, which is interesting idea. I think we see that in the trailers as well. Mako and Bolin do that, but I'm really not sure what to think of Unalaq. Like the whole thing of him being kind of kidnapped by the southern rebels, you really do ask the question of, was this all set up by him? Because a lot of the speculation about the first two episodes was that Tonrock's banishment and the spirit attacks were orchestrated by him. So was this also orchestrated by him? Because he's definitely one of these people kind of almost setting up this southern rebellion. Now, this is where Varric comes into play. Tonrock and Varric seem to have this kind of bad blood between them. And Varric seems to be the one that starts this southern rebellion. And I think throughout the episode you basically have it confirmed that it was Varric plus a few of those guys that went to Tonrock asking him to join them, but he didn't, and so from there they went to capture Unalaq on his own. But we don't see Varric after that scene in the Korra's parents' house, so the question is, was it actually the same rebels that went to see Tonrock and asked him that attacked Unalaq, or was it Unalaq kind of setting this whole thing up himself? I'm not really sure. But it's definitely a nice mystery to have, because he obviously has the question of like, Unalaq's a pretty powerful bender. I think he maybe could have been able to take out those four waterbenders if he needed to, unless they took him by surprise. So that makes me think it was all part of his plan to, I've been attacked now, more military force, I can use this now because I've been attacked, like as a justification for more military action and stuff like that. I think that could be what he's setting up, because one of the most interesting lines I thought was when Korra brought up the idea that this is going to lead to a civil war. Unalaq basically went through the whole situation of like, if this happens, the world will go out of balance, this will feed the dark spirits who will then attack, which will lead to a man versus spirit war, which I almost get the feeling is that that's what he wants in the end. He wants these spirits to come through, or something like that. Again, nice mystery presented that you're getting little bits about Unalaq as we go along. More and more the story, more and more speculation, but not quite the full story yet, and I like that. I suppose the next part would be Korra and her parents. Main thing I liked about this was that Senna got some good screen time, Korra's mother, and got a lot of lines, and they really just got into the emotions once again. That scene where Korra talks to her mother was interesting, because when she talked to her mother about the lies that Tonraq told, you could see by the look on her face that she was like angry and hurt by it. Just the really good animation on her face that you kind of look at her from the side and you just see her eyes really angered. I really like that part of the animation, and it also showed that her mother is kind of maybe not as intense about it as Tonraq, but still roughly feels the same way about their daughter, in that Senna says to Korra that she shouldn't be involved in this whole rebellion thing, and then Korra walks out and says, I'm already involved because of what's actually just come before, and I like that because earlier on in the episode, throughout this whole episode actually, you see Korra is doing work as the Avatar throughout this episode, trying to prevent a civil war, trying to promote kind of harmony amongst the two tribes, in probably a better way than Unalaq is. And like, especially that scene when like the kids kind of get involved and stuff like that, she just comes in between the two tribes who are just about to start a fight and says, you're both from the same tribe, start acting like it. And then for some reason the Southerners just kind of snap at her, you're taking their side when she was just being kind of even. And then the kid throws the snowball at her saying she's the worst Avatar ever. And then you realise like, that's the sort of abuse she's getting for just trying to be like even and be the Avatar in the middle of the conflict. Like, you kind of understand that that kid is coming at this from a completely biased point of view, that those Northerners are walking through our town, why don't you like attack them or something like that. So I like that. And then the big thing throughout the rest of the episode is that she hears from her mother that Tonraq's been approached by Varric and the rebellion to join, and then she comes across the kidnapping and thinks he's the big guy and think, that's my father, he's just trying to kidnap my uncle here. And then when she finds out it's not, she really kind of gets upset that she thought her father would do that, and then instantly goes to apologise. I loved the apology scene. I thought it was brilliant. Because my biggest worry going into like that apology scene, because I could see it coming the second she came at the door, was that it would be too one-sided and making kind of Korra out to be wrong. But no, they handled it really well, really even. Korra apologised for just being kind of a pain of late and just going through so much and like involving them so much in it. And they apologised to her for not letting her kind of be the Avatar, not letting her make their own decisions, and that especially Tonraq said to her, that I saw the Southern Lights and I'm so proud of you and respect that you can now do stuff now. And then Senna would probably like one of the lines of the episode, I can't remember quite exactly, but something like that, she explains the whole history of her and Tonraq, that when they met they just wanted a simple life, raise a family, but that went out the window the second they found out Korra was the Avatar, and that they realised that at some stage Korra would realise that she doesn't need her parents anymore and that the world would need her more. But then Korra comes back and says, I still need you, and that was this perfect way to kind of conclude this thing that, okay, she's fine with her parents now, they understand her, she understands them, and then end the episode with another kind of evil turn for Unalaq, and you're just like, what are you doing, Unalaq? Tell us who you are and what you're doing, when he basically arrests the two of them for an assassination attempt, and especially when we've just found out that Tonraq refused the decision to join the rebellion, and he's like, what on earth is he doing here? He clearly knows that Tonraq has some sort of power in the south, and getting rid of him will get Korra more on the side, or something like that. I'm not really sure. I'll do a speculation video like tomorrow or Monday. But for now, that's been my review. Really good episode, lots of emotion, lots of family stuff, and I really enjoyed it. So thanks for watching, and bye.